Good morning and welcome to the Profit Connect Wealth Services Investor Call. My name is Jeff Winkler. I'm the court-appointed receiver. Today is September 26, 2024 at 10 a.m. Pacific time. I appreciate you guys all taking the time to join this call this morning so we can give you an update as to what has been going on in the case since the last time that we had an investor call. So at this point in the case, the number one question that we've been getting is regarding the interim distribution motion that we had filed a couple months ago, requesting permission to make payments to investors based on the amount of money that we're currently holding. That motion was filed. We did have a hearing on the motion, and the court, while the court said that they were willing to approve the motion as it was written, they requested that the Securities and Exchange Commission provide some additional information prior to the court allowing the funds to be distributed. So what does that mean? That means that that the SEC is in the process of filing some additional information, and we have an update, or we have a follow-up hearing on November 4th. At that point, we anticipate that the court will then grant the permission to be able to distribute funds, and we should be able to get those checks out within a week or two of when that distribution motion happens. One of the questions we got was about the amount of the proposed distribution. At this point, the distribution is going to be approximately 36% of the, it's going to be a pro rata distribution, the amount of 36% of your allowed claim. And so if you have specific questions related to your individual claim, you're welcome to reach out. But this first distribution, as we said, we anticipate being approximately 36% of the amount of the approved claim that you have. We do continue to work with credit card companies to recover some of the funds that were spent as part of the scheme, as well as litigation against some third parties, including a couple insurers. We do have a settlement that was just approved by the court with Allianz, and so those funds will be being turned over in the next short little while. In addition, we have litigation against a third party in Texas, which is currently ongoing. We have litigation against Dale Hayes, the attorney for Profit Connect at the time, as well as litigation against Bank of America. One of the questions we got was looking for an update on that. We do have our first mediation with Bank of America on January 22nd, so we'll sit down and see if we can't negotiate a settlement for the benefit of investors. Another question that we've gotten is just kind of in generally relating to payments that are being made to receivers and professionals. And so we just want to make sure that we're very clear as to how, it is we get paid. And so essentially when we are approached about working on this case, we offer discounted rates to the SEC and to the court based on our representation with the court, and a discount off of what we'd normally charge for doing this type of work. My professionals also do take the same discount, and it gets applied towards a reduction in the overall cost of doing the work. In addition, once we have our expenses and fees done, we do submit them to the Securities and Exchange Commission for review to ensure that the fees are in line with their guidelines and not excessive. Then after the SEC reviews them, then they get filed with the court. The court will review them in detail and ask questions about them. And then once the court is happy or it understands the total amount of fees and it has any questions answered, the court will then approve us to pay 80% of our discounted fees until the end of the case. And so 20% of our fees are held back to the end of the case to make sure that we do get the case done in an efficient and appropriate manner. Another question we have is, how long, is this case going to take moving forward? We anticipate that, the litigation against the third parties, much of which should be wrapped up within 2025, but we don't yet know exactly when the end of the case will be, since there are some variables that are outside of our control, due to being within the court system. Another question we have is regarding claims, asking whether or not people will get a letter mailed to them documenting how much their payment will be. There will not be a specific letter that comes out other than the check itself that comes out to showing what the payment will be. But again, based on the claims information that you submitted and the amount that was approved, that was provided to you as a claimant, it will be 36% of that amount in the first distribution. We do anticipate that there will be at least one additional distribution, if not two. The next question is regarding distributions. When can I get my funds back? So again, we've requested the court allow us to pay that. We think November 4th that we will get an order authorizing us to do that. And then the checks will go out within 2 weeks of that time. It says, when will the distribution funds begin and why did the earlier dates get changed? So again, the distribution funds will go out as soon as it's approved by the court. The reason why it has not gone out yet is because the court has not yet approved it, but we do anticipate that happening here very soon. So the next question is, why is it taking so long to get our checks if the motion for distribution was done on July 24th? Again, it goes back to the fact that the motion has not yet been signed by the judge. The judge has asked the SEC to provide some additional documentation, and once they do, we anticipate it will be approved at that time and the checks will go out. Next thing is, will we receive an email before the mailing of our first check stating when we should receive this payment? Yes, I'm going to request that an email go out to investors once the order has been approved. And then again, those checks will go out within 2 weeks of the date that that order is approved. The question is, do I think it's fair for those who have invested money to only be given a portion of it back when facing financial difficulties? No, I mean, I don't think it's fair that investors have lost money in the scheme or potentially losing money in this scheme. We're doing everything we can to get the money back and so that we can redistribute it out to investors. We have no control over some of the parts of how the money was originally spent. Therefore, we are doing our best to try to recover as much of it as possible. But some of the money that was spent on things that is non-recoverable. And that's why we've initiated litigation against banks and professionals in this case to seek to recover some of the money that may not otherwise be recoverable. After the first distribution, when will the second payment occur? The second payment will occur when we have a substantial enough sum of money to justify doing a distribution. And so that will likely be after a settlement with one of the larger pieces of litigation we have in the case, whether it be professionals like attorneys or against financial institutions. So those are all the questions that we received from investors via email. One did just come in asking when the next court hearing is. The next court hearing is November 4th of 2024. And that's the hearing that we do anticipate that the judge will approve the motion for distribution, assuming that she has comfort with everything else that's been done. And so those are all the questions. And so I do want to remind everybody, though, if you do have specific questions, you can reach us at the email, which is contact@profitconnect-receivership.com. That's contact@profitconnect-receivership.com. Or you can call area code 503-980-3711. Again, that's 503-980-3711. And if you've not already, I would encourage you to go to our website, which is profitconnect-receivership.com. Again, that's profitconnect-receivership.com. And register there, and then you will be receive the emails that I've mentioned before, as well as receiving emails when any new information is posted to the website. Again, I strongly encourage you to do that. But if you do have specific questions, you can reach out to us via email or via telephone. We did receive one more quick question that came in. It says, as an international investor, can I receive my money via wire transfer? If you are an international investor, we will be reaching out to you to determine the best way to get funds sent to you, because we do understand there are some difficulties with receiving checks. And so we will work through those. But again, if that situation does apply to you, I would recommend that you reach out to us sooner rather than later at that contact@profitconnect-receivership.com email. And then we can work with you on that. And then what is the process after the litigations are settled? So once all the litigation is settled, then we will take the final amount of money available, do a final distribution, and then we will close the case at that point. So those are all the questions that we have here in front of us today. Again, I appreciate you taking the time to join this call this morning. We do look forward to continuing to work with you. And again, if you have specific questions, please do reach out to us. Otherwise, thank you very much and look forward to updating you again soon. Bye-bye.